New horror story. The VHS tapes show a family that was never mine. I'm recording this at 3 a.m. because I found something in my grandmother's attic that can't be real, and I need someone else to see what I'm seeing before I convince myself I'm going insane. Found them yesterday in my late grandmother's attic. A shoebox full of unmarked VHS cassettes wrapped in yellowed newspaper from 1987. The handwriting on the labels was mine, but I've never seen these tapes before in my life. The first one I popped into my old TV downstairs was labeled Family Christmas 1993. I was 12 that year, so I figured it'd be nostalgic. Maybe some footage I forgot about. The tape kicked in with that familiar VHS hiss, tracking lines rolling down the screen before the image stabilized. It showed our living room, all right. Same ugly brown couch, same artificial tree in the corner. But there were people in the room I'd never seen before. A woman with auburn hair was opening presents with a little girl who couldn't have been more than 5. They were laughing, calling each other Mom and Emma. The camera work was shaky, amateur, but whoever was filming kept zooming in on their faces like they were studying them. I grew up an only child. My mother died when I was 8. Cancer, quick and brutal. But this woman looked exactly like my mom, just older. The way she would have looked if she'd lived to see Christmas 1993. The timestamp in the corner read December 25th, 1993. I remember that Christmas. I spent it alone with my grandmother because my dad was working a double shift at the plant. We ate frozen dinners and watched reruns. There was no little sister named Emma. There was no woman who looked like my mother. The second tape made my hands shake. Emma's first day of school, 1995. The camera followed the same little girl, now maybe 7, walking up the steps of Roosevelt Elementary. My elementary school. The woman who looked like my mother was holding her hand, waving at whoever was behind the camera. You could hear heavy breathing through the microphone and occasionally a whispered, beautiful or perfect from the cameraman. But here's what made me rewind it 6 times. I remembered that day. Not as the boy walking with them, but I remembered seeing them. There had been a new girl that year, Emma something, who disappeared after just 3 weeks. The teachers said her family moved suddenly. I remembered thinking she looked sad all the time, like she was scared of something. The third tape was labeled Family Dinner, October 1995. Same kitchen, same scratched wooden table where my grandmother fed me every night. But in this footage, it was set for 4 people. The woman, the little girl Emma, an older man I'd never seen before, and behind the camera, that same heavy breathing. The conversation was wrong. They kept looking directly at the camera with these frozen smiles like they were performing. The little girl's eyes darted toward the exits. When she asked to be excused, the woman's smile got wider and she shook her head once, sharply. "We're not done yet, sweetheart," she said. "Our family time is precious." The camera zoomed slowly on the little girl's face. A tear rolled down her cheek, but she kept smiling. Tape 4 through 12 were all the same house, same family, but spread across 2 years. Birthday parties, bedtime stories, family portraits posed in front of our fireplace. In every single one, you could hear the cameraman breathing, occasionally whispering directions. Smile wider. Hold hands. Look happy. The final tape was different. No label, just black electrical tape wrapped around the cassette. The footage was darker, grainier. It showed the basement of my grandmother's house, but it looked different. Newer carpet, fluorescent lights that hummed audibly through the speakers. There were toys scattered around, dolls and coloring books, and that same little girl, Emma, sitting in the corner. She wasn't smiling anymore. The camera was perfectly still this time, like it was mounted on a tripod. The timestamp showed October 18th, 1995. The day Emma disappeared from school. She looked directly into the lens and mouthed 2 words. "Help me." The tape cut to black, then came back. Same basement, but years later, dust covered everything. The toys were still there, arranged exactly the same way, but covered in cobwebs. I've been living in this house for 3 years since my grandmother passed. I've been in that basement hundreds of times. I've never seen those toys before, but when I went down there an hour ago, they were exactly where the tape showed them. If I filmed all of these tapes, why don't I remember this family that lived in my house? Thank you for listening. If you really like the story, please like the video and subscribe for more daily stories. Thanks.